Yeah, but making movies is the only thing I know how to do right now.
But do you think movie will make money?
Yeah.
You spend money, you don't make money. That you have to understand about the future. One day, I'm expected to hear from you, Mom. I get a study job. I get a job like John, like Brina. You see, you have to buy food to eat. You should have something. You should have your career, like study career. Like in the future when you retire, you can survive.
I know.
You can find a city job. You know how people come here, they always talk about, that they work for a city job now, like 70,000 some a year.
Mom's right. I have to let go of filmmaking. For the past 2 years, I've been living off my savings, trying to build a career in the industry. I made a dozen short films. But to be real, nothing has come out of it, except for my bank account running dry. I've had a lot of sleepless nights since, questioning everything. Why am I doing this? What will I do if I not filmmake? Where did it all begin?
I also have an iPad.
And who got me interested? The story goes back to 1998. When I was about 10 years old, my cousin Bordy and I lived in the same house. We didn't hang out much because he was a lot older than me, but one thing I remembered was his VHS cassettes of homemade action movies. These were cassettes of action movies that had him and his friends in it. This was before the internet. They were copying Hong Kong action movies that we were all watching back then. I would watch his action movies over and over. I was fascinated by the fact that these were movies made in the area we grew up in. These films were made in Jane and Finch landmarks. This was shot at the back of Yorkwood's public library. This film was shot in Black Creek. This movie was shot on a path to Topcliffe Public School. These were my first memories of being awed by the possibility of movies being close to home, and that it could be made in the backyard of our area, of our community. It wasn't until 2004, told to me by my cousin Bordy, that I was mistaken. He wasn't the mastermind behind these movies. It was a guy named Paul Nguyen.
Story of JaneFinch.com.
And they're fighting to improve the image of the place they call
Jane and Finch are trying to combat the bad rap.
He uses the power of the media to empower and promote the Jane Finch youth in a positive manner.
Just over a year ago, a young man decided he had had enough of his neighborhood's bad rap, and so he decided to do something about it with some good
rap.
Trying
to change their community's reputation by creating opportunities themselves. They've launched a website, JaneFinch.com.
He has transformed this grassroots project into a national success story.
JaneFinch.com.
Get teens to check out a website to learn about the history of where they live. But if you put something interesting alongside all that educational material, they just might find themselves entertained and a little wiser along the way.
Household name. Paul Nguyen, a native Jane
Paul
Finch
is an
member,
established film.
Paul Nguyen. Growing up, this guy was news to me. A legend in the neighborhood I grew up in. Even though I didn't know him personally, I felt a sense of connection. He was making music videos with guys I recognized from the neighborhood. It felt like a dream what he was doing. It was a combination of Paul being Asian, being from the area we grew up in, and him using his voice like nobody else. It stood out for me. And seeing Paul's success made me believe that I could do it too. And so I did. I started making videos with my classmates. I would go to the JaneFinch.com website, check out the videos there, and be inspired.
So it's more, and then I'll cut it, and then we'll figure out something. Go!
Here's Paul doing a horror zombie movie at his high school, C.W. Jeffries, called Zombie Killers. I'd run off and do my own take on horror. Here's a movie I made called Hangwoman.
Why is the water red?
Paul didn't just stick to one genre. He was trying out new things. Here, he went for a socially driven drama. Stacy's Story is a short film that follows the challenges of a queer teenage girl going through high school life.
I'm sorry, Stace. I told you this would happen. What? I told you this would happen. What do you mean? Look, now the whole world is against me. Don't say that.
And like Paul, I went out and made my own socially driven drama. John's Story is a short film that follows the struggles of a teenage boy who was bullied at school, which leads him to a heartbreaking decision on his own life. Watching Paul's movies also taught me that film didn't have to always be serious. We can have fun and make fun of things. For example, this is a playful real estate video taking place in Yorkwoods Village.
So come on down. You can call me at 1-800. Get your house sold.
Again, I decided to make my own fun real estate video inspired by Paul's video.
We got here some salam machu, you know, and 613 cribs, famous. You guys gotta see the fridge. This is the good shit. We don't have crystal, so you rock the Pepto-Bismol. No crystal, Pepto-Bismol.
I just kept making these short films with my cousins, and we had no intentions of showing it anywhere. We just loved the reactions when we showed it to our older cousins. And so we just kept making them.
Shut up, boy!
In 2006, Paul Nguyen and his best friend Mark Sims went national with a documentary called Lost in the Struggle. It would be shown on CBC, and everybody I knew was watching it.
What you're about to see is remarkable. Told in their own words and in their own music. It's the story of a journey. Young men born into one world, trying to escape into another. Their triumphs, their defeats, and what gets lost in the struggle.
Finally, seeing Asians from low-income neighborhoods, that was a reflection of myself, of my family, of our people. Not only that, but light was being shown on Chucky Akins, who was a musician. It was a fresher breath air to know that we can be artists.
In order for someone to listen, you have to, you have to kind of share something in order for them to share something back. It's a give and get process. Trying to get a job, to make my life better.
This was a real look from within, from Paul and Mark, who were associate producers and cameramen. But more importantly, residents from the area who could be authentic about the reporting. They were given full access to the subjects, capturing their real stories.
Now, the site has brought a lot of awareness to a lot of the people in Canada about Jane and Finch, letting them know that Jane and Finch is not this bad, negative stereotype that we get from the media. So we're crashing all of these stereotypes and bringing a lot more positivity to the area.
Everybody I knew was talking about that documentary, about Paul, about Mark, about Chucky. I remember a moment during that time when I was walking around the Jane and Finch Mall with my older cousin, Bordy, and we crossed paths with Paul, and my cousin gave him a dap and just walked away. I was a little starstruck. I didn't have the nerves to tell Bordy that I kind of looked up to the guy. That night, I remember thinking, how cool would it be to collaborate with Paul? To be able to make music videos, action movies, comedies, anything that could put us on the spotlight. It meant my movie making can have a purpose. I soon found out there was a vision behind Paul's movies, and I wanted to be a part of it.
Kind of create almost like an industry within Jane and Finch, because there's so many stories to be told there and so much stuff that's going on, and so many different kinds of people with stories to tell. So we figured that that's a great place to, just to start an industry there and have like a little Hollywood in Jane and Finch.
Wow.
Yeah, that's my plan. That's my dream.
I wanted to be a part of that dream, so I grind, making movies to develop my craft and possibly impress Paul.
Yo, how can make it? Yo, man, we're almost there.
I made animation. I made a detective crime movie.
Excuse me, Mr. Thor Sekhmet. We're part of the NYPD. Would like to ask you a few questions. I gotta go to work. Please come with us.
The sad thing is, Paul's dreams didn't really turn out. Not too long after the Lost in the Struggle documentary, the JaneFinch.com website dried up. There wasn't any content pumping out of it. It got quiet. I left high school in 2006 and went straight to work in a car manufacturing plant, where almost every member of my family were working at. For me, this job meant money coming in, and that meant I could save up for my next movie project.
The signs were everywhere, but now it's official, we are in a recession.
More difficult for you to get the loans you need to buy a car or send your children to college.
I have a feeling this is going to get way worse for cities like Windsor and Oakville and Oshawa, cities that rely on the auto sector here in Ontario. You know, we've got a global market malaise. People stop buying expensive stuff.
Even though they officially called it the Great Recession in late 2007, my family and I felt it before that. People around us, family, friends, neighbors, were losing jobs they had for years, even decades. To this day, I've never seen that kind of financial instability hit my family so hard. It shook us all. And at that point, I was convinced that making movies was for people who had money. I couldn't justify chasing that dream anymore. So I gave up. Fast forward a few years, and I found myself working all kinds of jobs. A printing factory, a candy packaging factory, an office clerk, a cook at a restaurant. Through it all, I kept thinking back to my time making movies, remembering how much I loved it. But it felt like one of those unrequited loves, something that just wasn't meant to be. At least that's what I thought. Until 2020.
COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
Canada has advised Canadians to curtail non-essential international travel.
Countries around the world have now reported more than 1 million coronavirus cases.
When COVID-19 hit, we were all stuck at home. I didn't think much of it at first, just figured it'd be a lot of time indoors. At the same time though, my family and I were messing around making videos. We started just wanting to post videos about food, Asian food, Cambodian food, really just food in general. Then it came back. That love, that drive, that spirit of making movies returned, and I started making movies again. Film after film. In the last decade, I had saved some money, so I spent everything I had, all my savings, whatever it took for me to make movies again. But then again, it caught up. Fast forward to now.
But do you think movie will make money? You spend money, you don't make money.
I've gone broke making a dozen short films in the last 2 years and decided to give up. Maybe get an office job, something stable. But before I hang it up for good, I wanted to talk to somebody, someone who's been through it. I decided to go on a mission to find out what happened to Paul. Although me and Paul are about a decade apart, we had similar goals, similar ambitions from a similar background. But I have to ask myself, why are we not destined to become filmmakers? Did he give up on his dreams? Or did his dreams give up on him? To get my answer, I paid a visit to my cousin Bordy. Remember that guy, Paul Nguyen?
The director?
Yeah. Does he still make movies?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Do you still keep in touch with him?
Not really, but I have him on Facebook.
Do you think you can get in touch with him about an idea that I have? Then I began to explain to Bordy why I was interested in meeting Paul.
Yeah, I can message him.
Bordy sent the message. And then he sent me his contact. And when I received it, I opened up my laptop and drafted the email. I would write, then delete. Write a whole paragraph, then delete. Write another one, then delete. Instead of a long blurb, I just wrote, "Let's schedule a call." And I hit send. I closed the laptop, but right after, I kept having thoughts. Who am I to him? I'm a nobody. What if he thinks I'm not to be taken seriously? What if he doesn't even want people to know his business? Then I got the response. I was nervous about this call. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to get in contact with you to discuss some of the movies you made before, and I had so many questions about his previous work, his early works, the films I used to watch as a kid to when I was a teenager. He was an open book, and right away we started talking about our connection with one another. I found out his parents came to this country as refugees almost a decade before my parents came as refugees, but we lived in the same apartment. We went to the same elementary school, Yorkwoods Public School. His parents moved and he ended up going to Top Cliff Public School. About 10 years later, my family moved and I ended up going to Top Cliff Public School. We both went to the same middle school. It was the weirdest thing to know that we had this much connection. Then he began to tell me the origins of director Paul.
I think the earliest days, my dad had a high-8 camcorder, like a Sony Handycam. And my best friend who lived across the street. So we're just like, let's experiment. Let's just like make a movie. And we're both into martial arts, make some kung fu movies in the hood. We're just experimenting, and I went to the library. I got like a book on like video production. So obviously we had no computers, anything back then. So when we're shooting, we have to learn to get the timing right. So if I'm throwing a punch, I'll stop the camera, change to a different angle, then continue that motion and complete it.
So you're telling me that you would record, pause, just change the angles and record again and do that over and over and over?
Yes, to do the angles, and then sometimes we did it to the extreme. So we're doing an action movie, say someone like hit somebody and then they'll take a tumble. But it wouldn't just be one angle. We'll do like 6 or 7 times, and we can't mess up on the camera. If you mess up, you lose your footage, right? So we have to like carefully get the timing perfect. But making a long thing like the zombie movie at Jeffrey's, that's like 40 minutes. So it's like you're using the same tape and you're making all the cuts as you're making it. There's no screw ups. And then once through practice, through many hundreds of, if not thousands of hours of practice, we got it fine-tuned, and it was, we made these really cool action movies and copied them on VHS, and then used to give it around to kids throughout the neighborhood, kind of like a mixtape. So it takes a while for the word to get around, but then to the point where we're filming stuff, and it's just an unusual sight back then to have a couple of kids with a camcorder. So we're filming like some fight scene in the park, and then young kids will follow us around. I remember girls on the bikes used to follow us around. Like, who are these guys? And we felt like kind of like these ghetto celebrities, right? And then actually a lot of kids in the area knew who we were. They're like, these are the guys that made those kung fu movies in Jane and Finch. We filmed everywhere in Jane and Finch.
I ended up mentioning to him that it'd be nice to learn what happened in his career. And for myself as an aspiring filmmaker, I could learn from it. He mentioned that he would like to chat about it in person. And if possible, to see the short films that I made. Yeah, sure. That's not a problem. I can show you my work.
Cool. I'll see you in a bit.
I remember it. 'Cause I remember, yeah. I remember it. 'Cause I remember, yeah. I remember it. 'Cause I remember, yeah. There wasn't hip-hop, little homie, that's an insult. I've been in this game so deep, I know it's ins, outs. As a young teen, yes, made tons of mistakes, yes. You can see it in my face, this life is so depressed. What could I do along this path as I grew? Little chin so twisted in the dreams I pursued. Mismatched, but I flew in the ways that I knew. Heart of gold, deep inside, but made the choices of a fool. So angry at the world.
Hey, man. What's going on, man? It's good to see you. Nice meeting you.
What's going on? What's up?
Sorry, my hands are a little sweaty.
Yeah, no worries.
This is Sonny, my cameraman.
Hey, Sonny, what's up, man? How's it going? Nice to meet you. What's up? Come on in.
All right.
You gotta take off your shoes.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Thanks a lot, man.
I then showed him some of the short films I made.
during her hits, she has the facial expressions. But when he was choking her out, his face wasn't like that much. He's wearing socks. He'd be sliding around, man.
Yeah.
Ned Faust. Oh, I love the music.
Yeah.
Some cool stuff, man. Reminds me of the stuff I used to do back in the day.
So how come you stopped making movies?
How can I stop making it? Actually, doing my website, I became aware of so much of the social issues that are happening in the community. So I was like, well, how do you address that? How do you tell that story? We have to do it through either a news format or documentaries. So we're not doing kung fu movies anymore. Until later on, it's like, yeah, there's so much things you can do in the community. So it takes away your time. You can't be doing those videos forever. Right. And then documentaries is a way. And then slowly, the video kind of took a step back. But the energy and the focus is always there, doing stuff in the community. But we're doing so many things behind the scenes, giving talks to schools, visiting this and that, doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff. I learned like volunteering for other organizations, sitting on a board and learning about being exposed to all these other issues. And then video's always there as like a good tool to use, right. But it's not always like the primary focus anymore. But yeah, I've learned a lot. Video's like my foundation. And video, what I mean is like being creative, storytelling, connecting with people. Those are all like the themes that are always constant. And yeah, so I love connecting with people and learning about issues. You have to keep an open mind. Opportunity or alternative route, you should take it. You can always go back to it one day. I would love to do like a kung fu thing one day. Maybe not as a performer, but maybe contributing in a different way, whether it's like, some choreography or, there's other ways you can get involved.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for dropping by. Thanks for showing your stuff. It's really cool. Yeah, keep up the good work, man.
All right.
Yeah.
We're gonna head out.
All right, Sonny. Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming out.
Is this the same camcorder you used to shoot?
Yeah, that's the original camera, Sony Hi8. I just shot stuff on it recently. It was really cool to see, today's scenes in the old footage. So yeah, you should definitely give it a shot sometime. Try it out.
I took his offer to try out the camera and decided there that I would make one last film. I went home, wrote a script, casted the actors, it took a couple of months, but we were finally ready to shoot. I also had to buy new tapes for the camera.
This is Richie opening up the Maxell tape.
This is I would say about over 20 years old, Maxell.
Tell the camera who just joined us.
We got Paul Nguyen here, legend, Jane Finch legend, Kung Fu legend, director, producer, actor. He's actually martial artist. He's our actual choreographer for today, and he's gonna run some scenes with us. Play around, have fun. It's nothing too serious.
Great.
And yeah, have a good time. And that's where the action sequence for that one starts, and then it ends with Mika over there, falling down onto that rock.
Yeah, that's right. So if you're over the shoulder, you're just gonna do like a wide swing, like really wide, like slow, whatever. If you can just look scared, like yeah, like that.
Yeah. Okay. That's when I knew I'm done. Yeah.
Last time then the knee thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Like a little sharp, like a snap.
Oh.
And it'll like.
And then maybe one uppercut while he's down.
Yeah.
Hey, come here, come on.
Oh, you're so much, man. I appreciate you. Thank you. Oh my God. So happy I met you finally.
Yeah.
I went home and edited the film. This is one of my favorite parts of the filmmaking process, where I get to see it come to life.
I'm here to help. Appreciate that.
My other favorite part of the process is the presentation. I'm anxious and excited to show this film to Paul.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello,
Yeah,
can
yeah.
you hear me?
Yeah,
I keep my camera off.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
The Wi-Fi sucks here.
Okay, I'm gonna press play. Okay.
Let's see it.
gorilla set. Now, why don't we test that out, huh?
Stick! That one!
Come on! Come on!
Like the story of David and Goliath told over and over and over again.
I love this. Hilarious, man.
Put on some weight since high school much?
Hey, Richie, I gotta take off, but let's chat soon.
Yeah, no worries, man. All right, you have a good one, eh?
You too.
Hey, you have any feedback, just send me a text, all right?
Sounds good.
Cool. All right, have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Cause I remember, yeah, I remember it. Cause I remember, yeah, I remember it. Cause I remember, yeah, I remember it. Cause I remember, yeah. There wasn't hip hop, little homie, that's an insult. I've been in this game so deep, I know its ins, outs. As a young teen, yes, made tons of mistakes, yes. You can see it in my face, this life is so depressed. What could I do along this path as I grew? Little chin so twisted in the dreams I pursue. Mismatched, but I flew in the ways that I knew. Heart of gold, deep inside, but made the choices of a fool. So